I was on my way back to Alberta and I stopped and checked some of the charts and that's what the sign had.
After the meeting.
It said, for your safety.
How long is it?
Taking
Okay.
cash.
Public hearings.
Sounds good.
We prefer cards, but I have cash.
So when you walk out with a pocket full of cash, you're still safe.
Yeah.
You wanna, you wanna bang this?
Well, it's 7 o'clock, yeah. 7 o'clock, call the meeting to order. Okay. We acknowledge we are gathered on Treaty 1 and Treaty 2 territories, and that Manitoba is located on the treaty territories and ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, Anishinaabe, Cree, Cree, Dakota, Otoya, Denisovan, Ojibwe, and Italian. We acknowledge Manitoba is located on the homeland of the Red River Métis, and we respect the spirit and intent of treaties and treaty making and remain committed to working in partnership with First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people in the spirit of truth, reconciliation, and collaboration. Be resolved that the minutes of the May 20th, 2025 regular meeting of council and the June 2nd, 2025 special meeting of council be approved as circulated and posted. Motion by Councillor Drohan, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Call for the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Be resolved that the agenda be adopted as presented. Motion by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Call for the question. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, we have 4 minutes to go here. So I'm going to zip down to the communications. Be resolved that council receives the communications as presented. Motion by Councillor Drohan, seconded by Councillor Brown. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns with any of those communications? Call for the question. All in favor? That's carried. Uh, 8.1, be it resolved that the payroll accounts be approved for payment as follows. Direct deposit payroll of May 29th, 2025, $17,398.96. Direct deposit payroll of June 12th, 2025, $18,480.07, for a total of $35,879.03. Motion by Councillor Drohan, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Call for the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Be it resolved that council approved the list of accounts for expenses for checks numbered 12,794 to 12,865 for $550,958.33, and other online payments of $60,954.39 for a total amount of $611,912.72. Motion by Councillor Maxwell, seconded by Councillor Brown. Call for the question. All in favor? That's carried. Be resolved that the unaudited financials for the month of May 2025 be accepted as presented. Motion by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Drohan. Call for the question. All in favor? Carried. 8.4, be it resolved that the May 2025 bank reconciliation for the general reserves and the utility accounts be accepted as presented. Motion by Councillor Drohan, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Call for the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Be it resolved, the meeting be recessed for a scheduled public hearing on the following matter. CU 002-25-C. Motion by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Call for the question. All in favor? That's carried. The purpose of the public hearing is to receive representations from the applicant and any persons who wish to make them. We will first hear from the applicant, then from those present who wish to make representations, starting with anybody who wants to speak in favor of the proposal. At the end of the other presentations, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond. At the end of each presentation, the members of council may ask for clarification from the speaker on any fact or issue, but will not enter into a debate. Persons speaking must address the chair. If they have questions that they think the applicant should answer, they should raise them in their presentation to the chair. The applicant will have an opportunity to respond to questions when the other presentations are finished. This is also not the time to question the members of council under the Planning Act. The purpose of the public hearing is for council to receive representations, and a discussion or argument involving members of council is inappropriate. There should be no interruptions when a person is making a presentation, and order must be maintained. Okay. So if anybody is speaking in favor of the application, is the applicant here?
Which one are we talking about?
Oh, sorry.
Rock.
Durka or which one?
Yeah, Rock.
Rock.
Blaine Rock.
Blaze.
Okay, there's,
He's not here.
okay, is there anybody speaking in opposition to the application? All right. We did have questions. I know I did. Okay. Be resolved that the public hearing be closed at 7:07 p.m. and return to the meeting. Motion by Councillor Drohan, seconded by Councillor Brown. Call for the question. All in favor? That's carried. Are there any committee reports? I don't think so. Accounts.
Correct. 8.5.
8.5, yep. Be resolved that the CAO schedule a finance committee meeting with the auditors and municipal staff to review the draft 2022 audited statements received. Motion by Councillor Drohan, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Before we call for the question, does anybody have any comments that they'd like to make about the 2022 audit that's coming back from the auditors? It's in draft format right now. You guys want to say something? I was just going to mention that it's nearing completion. We've received the first draft. We're going to meet with the auditors on Monday and go over the recommendations and findings. And there are no surprises in the audit. Yeah, everything is looking good.
Is it going to be posted, Terry?
Pardon me?
Will it be posted?
When it's, yeah,
When it's done.
when it's done, yeah. Okay, I'll call for the question. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, 9.1. Be it resolved, bylaw 1679-08-2018A, being a bylaw to amend procedures bylaw 1679-08-2018, the council meeting start time to 5 p.m. be hereby read a second time. Motion by Councillor Drohan, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Before we call for questions, does anybody have any comments they'd like to make about this? I'll just maybe mention that having a meeting start at 7 o'clock with some of our agendas sometimes lasting hours, and having a CAO that's here for 8 hours a day, for that person to be able to function and think that late into the evening with some of these complicated issues that we're trying to tackle. It's better for everybody. It's better for business if we're more accessible at 5 o'clock rather than 7 o'clock. We're recording the meetings anyway, so they're available online if people can't attend. So yeah, it's a good thing in my opinion to move them to 5 o'clock. Call for the question. All in favor, and that's carried. All right, third reading. Be it resolved, bylaw 1679-08, 2018A, being a bylaw to amend procedures bylaw 1679-08, 2018 for the council meeting start time to 5 p.m. be hereby read a third and final time. Motion by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Drohan. Anybody want to say anything before we call for the question? No? Okay. Call for the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Here's all bylaw 1738-03, 2025, being a bylaw to establish a surplus land reserve fund, be hereby read a second time. Motion by Councillor Drohan, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Anybody have any comments that they'd like to make on that? The purpose of this.
No, I think we've had a recent sale of a substantial amount, and I think to set it aside for use for capital purchase is prudent, and it's set aside so we can see where it is and where it went.
Yeah, so it doesn't get sucked into the general reserve and disappear. That's right. Okay, call for the question. All in favor? That's carried. Be it resolved, bylaw 1738-03, 2025, being a bylaw to establish a surplus land reserve fund, be hereby read a third and final time. Motion by Councillor Drohan, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Call for the question. All in favor? That's carried. Be resolved, bylaw 1739-05, 2025, being a bylaw to eliminate discounts applied to prepayments of taxes and set the rate of penalty charges on unpaid taxes effective 2026, be hereby read a first time. Motion by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Drohan. Call for the question. All in favor? That's carried. Okay. 10.1. Be it resolved that council receives as information the May 20th, 2025 email request for annexation into the city of Brandon from Dr. Mohammed Abdullah, property owner of roll number 61,000. That's motion by Councillor Maxwell, seconded by Councillor Drohan. Any comments? No? Call for the question. All in favor? It's carried. .2, whereas council accepted all three of the recommendations from the ombudsman regarding the disclosure by the Reeve of confidential information received during a closed session of a council meeting, and whereas the ombudsman is working toward the final report and would like to include the disposition of the recommendations, which included the recommendation to issue a formal apology to the complainant. Therefore, be it resolved that after reviewing the letter in camera, council directs the administration to send the above said letter of apology. Motion by Councillor Drohan, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Call for the question. All in favor? And that's carried. There is an item here that doesn't have any type of a resolution with it, but we do acknowledge that we recently had an improvement order from the Workplace Health and Safety in which case we acted upon it immediately to ensure the safety of the residents, or the employees of the municipality. We have completed to date 14 of the 18 recommendations, and for the remaining 4 recommendations, training is to begin next week. It's been scheduled. We were waiting for those training companies that provided the training. We were waiting for them to actually have the training scheduled. They have, and we have enrolled our staff into it. So that's the update that we can provide on that. 10.5, be resolved that council accepts the approval from Transport Canada under the Canadian Navigable Waters Act, CNWA, for the removal and construction of DFA Site Number 2, the 2022 Spring Flood Event, bridge at the Little Souris Road, 113 West. Motion by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Is there any comments that you want to make on that?
Well, it's about time.
A long
Yeah,
time
this-
coming. Now,
it's been
will
a long
they
time.
start? I mean, have we got confirmation that actually get it done this year?
Last we heard that it was supposed to get started
Okay.
sometime in June, but we're halfway through now, so we're hoping.
Okay, I'll call for the question. All in favor? That's carried.
You missed 10.4.
There's nothing in there. Be resolved that Ashley Hayes, June 2nd, 2025, email regarding Greenstone Quantities drainage concerns be placed on the next transportation meeting agenda for resolution. Motion by Councillor Maxwell, seconded by Councillor Brown. Call for the question. All in favor? That's carried. Be resolved, the correspondence from the Public Utilities Board regarding outstanding information on Shader wastewater rates be forwarded to a committee meeting for closer review. Motion by Councillor Drohan, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Call for the question. All in favor? That's carried. I don't feel comfortable with 11.2 because we don't have all the information that we need. So, table 11.2?
Motion to table.
Is there a second? Motion by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Call for the question then.
Beforehand, I'd like to just say, I'd like to have KPD come in and give us some more information.
Yeah.
On what they've investigated, if anything.
Call for the question then. All in favor? And that's carried. You need a minute to catch up.
I think I'm okay.
Be resolved that as per clause 2BI of the noise bylaw 1564-05-2000, council authorizes Bob Brown for fireworks at the Northeast 34-9-19 West residence on June 27th to July 1st, 2025, on the condition that there is no burning ban in effect.
I don't know.
Motion by Councillor Maxwell, seconded by Councillor Drohan. Is there
Yeah, I didn't see invitations for anybody.
And it isn't gonna be for all them days. It's just basically weather permitting and obviously the burn ban, if there's one.
So you're gonna recuse yourself from the vote. I'll call for the question, and all in favor? And that's carried.
I abstain.
Be it resolved that council has no concerns with Adam Gur's provincial application for tile drain at Southwest 341018 West. Motion by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. I'll call for the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Be resolved that council approve the $2,000 scholarship awards grants for the 2025 year as follows. Elton Collegiate, $500. Nealon High School, $500. Vincent Massey High School, $500. And Crocus Plains Regional Secondary School, $500. Motion by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Any comments that we want to make on this?
I guess just that there has been a chosen student from the Arm of Cornwallis in all four of their schools.
Perfect. Yeah, that was my question too, was to make sure that this goes to a municipal, somebody who lives in a municipality. So that's good to hear.
And I know you're presenting for one.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna look after presenting, you'll do it, Terry, or
Nobody's asked me or mentioned anything to me.
well, somebody should probably do it.
Well, let me know.
Normally, or you don't have to, but it's kind of nice, actually.
Is there one that you wanted to attend? Like,
I mean, I can leave and else and with my daughter.
You're going to Neil, right?
What you doing?
He's got Neil.
I can do that.
No, I think
I can do whatever. You got a Crocus, Vincent Massey. Just let me know the dates for those.
yeah, okay, I'll let you know the dates and then,
So we'll call for the question and all in favor. That's carried. Okay. So regarding that 11.6. We have to have that hearing on the opening of the road?
It's not my, Sharon.
That is yours, but we'll have to table that for the moment for, there's missing some information.
Yeah. Gonna have to
And
table.
we'll talk about that after.
Okay, can we talk about that tonight after your public hearing?
We're almost done the meeting, so.
The meeting's almost over.
Oh, okay, so, but I mean, we can, get that one, we don't have to do it another day?
No, we,
No,
Okay,
no, no.
okay, great.
Okay. Whereas applicant Giovera Manitoba Land Surveying and the owners Eugene Pilchetti, Deborah Pilchetti, and Joshua Rist, Jamie Rist of Southeast 171019 West at 56020 Road 50, roll number
Can't
72.
do that one.
We, no?
Can we do it in that one, Paul? You need more information on.
Oh, I think we need more info on
Is
that.
that the one we need more info on?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I saw something there earlier, but I didn't see. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, sorry.
That's okay, that'll work.
Okay, so, we are just about to go in camera then. So,
Yeah, I think that's all.
yeah. Give me a sec here. There we are. Be it resolved that in accordance with the Municipal Act, Section 152.3, council does hereby close a meeting to the public and move in camera at 7:25 PM to discuss personnel, a matter that is in the preliminary stages in respecting which discussion in public could prejudice a municipality's ability to carry out its activities or negotiations, the conduct of existing or anticipated legal proceedings, a report of the ombudsman, and be it further resolved that council agrees to keep in confidence all matters discussed at this closed session. Motion by Councilor Maxwell, seconded by Councilor Drohan. Call to the question, all in favor? That's carried, and we're in camera. So for those folks that are online, when we come out of camera, we're going to adjourn the meeting because there's nothing else on the agenda. So we can get rid of that now in the stream.